at what's new in Civil 3D 2026. My name is Leo Lavayen. I work with the IMAGINiT team. I specialize on the civil side. Been doing this for way too long. I started with AutoCAD, been doing mapping, been doing infrastructure, and been part of the reseller channel for many, many years now. If you are one of our clients, I'm sure I've worked with you in the past. What we're going to be looking at today is, actually, I'm going to start with a little backtracking, an overview of what was new in 2025.1. So there's been some things that were added to Civil 3D that if you weren't running 25 at all, you may have not known this, or you may have not even known that 2025 did get some changes. From there, I'm going to get into the major bullets of 2026. That is the drainage analysis, tech preview, model viewer updates, some information on infrastructure design review in the cloud, some enhancements to Project Explorer, rail, and surface performance, a little bit of Dynamo, a little bit of insight, and at the end, we're going to talk about coordinate systems. And I do have a little bonus at the end as well if you stick around. Not everything will be demoed. Some of it will just be a presentation. Some of this is just going to be a conversation, especially as we look on moving forward here. The overview of the updates to 2025.1, just in case you missed these guys, I just want to talk about that. There have been changes. Dynamo, more specifically, has been improved. There's been expansions to node library, so now you can do a little bit more functionality. There's a little bit more things that we can do that are now open up for your users. So if you want to do some scripting, some automation from within Civil 3D, Dynamo is a really great way of doing that. If not, our team can help you build and run this as a service here. Surface and corridors have been enhanced, which we now benefit in 2026 as well. Surfaces, the way that they get put together, they get built, the way that volumes work, the way that corridors get built and grip edited, that density of these two big elements has been improved. So we can see performance improvements for those who are doing railroad or even embankments. Survey databases, the support has been moved to the cloud. I tested this a while back and it worked. It's supposed to be really pushing projects to the ACC, and that's not fully supported, where before it worked, now it's actually supported for you guys. Project Explorer, if you are using this secondary interface to do work within Civil 3D, there has been, again, more updates and expansions there, so you're able to speak to all the new features and have a little bit more functionality available from within the Project Explorer window. That was, again, in 2025, ported over onto 26. There have been improvements to Railway as well from the last release onto this release. Every year they have a little bit of something for Railway. In this case, I'm not sure if you guys would take advantage of this, is the fact that a while back, adding parallel or alignment bands were available there, but now we can add multiple and get even secondary alignment. So we can see the main center and the rails being put up here. The Cant tabular editor also has been expanded. So again, a little bit more enhancements for those who are doing rail. I only have about a handful of clients throughout the US that could have supported through this, but it's something that the product is being looked at. Catchment area improvements, which really get in tune to the drainage portion that was added in 2026. There's a little bit of more information inside of here that we're going to be able to do some more work, specifically the new runoff method for the SCS and just a whole new UI for you. So if you were running in earlier releases, catchments have been part of Civil 3D, but the interface has been improved for us here. Now, that was just a 2025 little hot take on that. Let's jump into 26. And the major update that's been hot has been the drainage analysis. And that's what we're going to start with here first, and then we'll go down the list as we see here. The drainage analysis is a tech preview. It's meant for looking at designing stormwater drainage systems, ponds, underground storage, open channels, and catchments. It could use customized rainfall events. It could run multiple storm events, and it could just even give us a really nice report of everything we have here. It is very specific to ponds, underground storage devices, open channels, and catchments here for us. Now, it is a tech preview, so you're not going to see it immediately. What you're going to have to do is go out to the manage.autodesk.com, and as you can see here, I'm pointing out that you're going to have to go find it, for Civil 3D for 2026 under extensions, you're going to be able to find that add-on there, where you're going to have Civil 3D installed. You run the installer, and you get this on your Civil software as well. Along with this, I did want to share this help file that comes along with this for 2026. I'm going to put this in the chat box. So it gives you a little insight onto this tech preview. Again, it's brand new. It's a new feature, so hopefully we'll see it as a default installer in future releases. So just be aware that this is what's really available out there. And it's really going to be driven by the feedback the community gives to Autodesk. So just be aware that exists there, and that's why it gives you the feedback right on the main page. Let's see if we can dismiss that here. So how does this work? Let's start here. Let's run to a quick demo of what this would look like. Let me jump over here into Civil 3D, guys. So what I have here is a really simple site. And what I would like to do is, well, if I was playing with this earlier, get rid of my pond over here. I have a pipe network that I'm working with. Now with this pipe network, you are going to have catchments assigned to your pipe network. Otherwise, you're going to get errors. It's going to say, hey, I need a drainage network on here. And even though your pipe network might be of a drainage sort, you're really going to have catchment areas added to your designs. And I just did really raw catchment areas inside of Grid. I really didn't spend much time adding in designs. I just want to show off here again that the catchments have changed, and we have a completely different interface for dealing with catchment areas. Whether you let the software run these or you create them from polylines, you're going to have to feed this information. And again, you can see here how I have assigned it to a particular structure. Once I do that, it makes the pipe network be storm. I was having a lot of problems with this, the fact that I was missing a catchment area. I was feeding information to my structures, but it needs a catchment associated with it. Otherwise, this is going to throw up one of the errors. So if I go here to structure properties, you'll notice that it does now have a catchment associated with it. That's going to be really, really important for us to work with this. As I look forward, here are the options here. I can create ponds from my home tab. I can create underground storage, and here's the option of creating channels. So let's say I want to create a little pond over here. Looking at adding a little bit of information, I'm going to add a pond, and I'm just going to play with this. Let's see here. I'm going to set this to a bottom elevation of 112, and give me some depth and some slopes inside of here. So I hit OK. I can go ahead and start designing my pond here. I'm just going to really quickly draw something in here. And there's my pond. Well, let's take a look at what the software is doing for this. I would like to split this view. I'm sure you guys do this all the time where you create split views. And I just want to show this in 3D. There's my pond, and there's my network. As an object, it will appear over here in the prospector. And here's my catchment controls pond, and there it is. I have options of looking at some of the properties for it, the storage, my inflows, my outflows. It would show me my connected pipes here. So in this case, I can just simply connect pipes to this pond. I can go over here and say, hey, just like it connects to structures, if I hover over and wait, I'm not sure if you guys can see that there, I get the little connection option, boom. And if I grab the sucker over here and hover over and wait, boom, I get that little connection option. So now my pipes are connected to that pond. I know that they're connected because if I go to my pond properties over here, it shows that I have inflows. If I wanted to add an outflow pipe, that's fine. In this case, there are separate networks. But from here, I can start running then analysis if I want to, or even if I wanted to grade this or change this. It is creating a 3D object for me here. If I wanted to create more of a Civil 3D grading element, it does give me some fun things that I could do with my pond here as I'm adding it in. I could hover over and add curves to the edges here. If I right-click, I can actually have the option of adding curves. And let's put a 8-foot radius, and there's my pond. As I start tinkering around with this design element, it is a physical object that I can stretch and move over and change where it's at on my screen here. If you wanted to create a grading element off of this, the software does provide you the options of creating feature lines from the pond, so you can then go ahead and start creating a surface if you wanted off of this and grade this out as well. So if you wanted to see something real in 3D, you could extract those features here. I'm just going to leave it as is for right now. What I want to do is focus on the analysis portion. As I go through here, I can analyze this design. It's going to ask me for a rainfall analysis in my design and start looking at what I have here. So if you happen to have a rainfall analysis, great, you can start looking at adding those. Let's see here, select. Because I had already run this from before, it's remembering what I did here. Let me open up the Rainfall Manager. So if I wanted to add any rainfall information, I can add rainfall events, and it can import them as CSVs. So if you have a rainfall event that you want to bring in, you can add it in. I just found something, give it some raw values. The same thing with my catchments. I just gave it information. So I'm just going to go here and just cancel this out, just so you can see that it is possible to give it information. Now, as I run the analysis, it's going to run a preliminary analysis, and if it finds any errors, it's going to state those for you. So if it does find any errors, you can pretty much zoom to them or read them to see what's going on. This is brand new technology, so it's going to be a lot of new verbiage that you're perhaps not used to seeing. And as it runs this analysis, again, I just didn't give it really good values. I just popped catchments, and I popped areas, and I popped hours, and I popped minutes, and quantity. And my rainfall data may not be really accurate here, so it may take a little bit longer to run through this. It is using cloud-based computing to be able to run this, and it's all happening in this, yes, modeless window, but all within Civil 3D. I would need to launch SSA or HydroFlow. It's not a third party that I'm launching here or a third application that I'm launching. It all happens within Civil 3D. Civil 3D getting to be that modeless idea of a lot of my windows, like what we see with many of our other design palettes here. It gives me a insight onto what I got, showing me that yeah, one of these pipes is surcharged. If I wanted to take this design and go ahead and apply it, I can. I can go back and redesign my pond if I want to, and make changes to what I have here on the screen. It is a brand new function. It is a tech preview, so it doesn't install with the software, and you have to go here and do a little bit of work. And if I had applied, it's going to take a little bit more time to go back and look at the pipes and add my hydrology line or my energy line. So for the time being, I'm just going to leave it as is and continue with my presentation. So I'm just going to go here and delete and close the results here. So that's it for the preview of the technology preview. Again, once you have it installed, it's going to be seen from the Home tab. Right up here under the Create Design. There's the pond, underground storage, and the channel. I played with it a little bit. I'm not an expert in it. It's brand new to 2026, and I hope you guys have some fun with it as well. Let's go back to our presentation here. There's a new Model Viewer window. Model Viewer still exists, but there's a new Modeless Viewer. This new viewer helps us be able to understand Civil 3D a little bit more. It's fast, it's intuitive because it's built on very similar technology, and it's a lot more efficient into how you're able to move and pan around. It is similar, but not the same. Also, if you are taking your designs into AEC, there has been an addition to alignment tracking, so you're going to be able to go through your alignment, track a station, cut your geometry, and create your own little section views, measure distances and information. And if you guys have been working with the AEC for a while, you understand that we were able to do this a couple of releases back with scans. And scans had linear features that we were able to run very similar designs. Now the ACC just recognizes this within your drawings. Let's take a quick peek at a little bit of this. I want to run back into Civil 3D, and I just want to talk about this Modeless Viewer. You know what? I can do it right now. Let me open my next drawing. I could do it inside of here, but I have a whole drawing dedicated for this. Model Viewer, here we go. So the classic Model Viewer is still available. Let's talk about that one. If I go over here to my classic Model Viewer here, there's my Object Viewer, excuse me. And that's the classic window that we get inside of here. I used to have a steering wheel, which will allow me to work a little bit better. Yes, of course, I can change my views inside of Civil, but I'm stuck here. I could set this window if I wanted to, but that's not what I want to talk about. What I would like to talk about here is perhaps doing a little bit more with what I have. And that is, if I take design data, I'm going to take my surface and maybe my corridor over here. And I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to go in here to my Model Viewer, not my Object Viewer, my new Model Viewer. And what this allows me to do is look at my objects inside of Civil 3D. Now, so much of what you perhaps were used to in the past is do a little bit of work inside of here. I can change my settings and perhaps change my conceptual view to maybe wireframe so I can see through my design. Or what you may have not been up to in earlier and later releases or earlier versions. Now this is a modeless window. I can go back into AutoCAD and have this still floating out here. Now the fun part about this, if you're looking at objects, maybe I don't want to see the surface and all I want to see is a corridor. The corridor has neat little features here where I can show the corridor feature lines and the corridor sections themselves. See how the corridor sections were enabled here? And I can choose to disable them so I can see a little bit less corridor feature lines as well. And I can change my view here. I'm going to do conceptual, and there's my design. What if I wanted to add to this view? Well, I can go back here to my screen. Let's see, I think I have some buildings inside of here. I can grab this building here and grab this building over here, and I can take these suckers and right click, and I can choose to add to Model Viewer. So as I do that, my building should then be added to my design. And you can use the panning and orbiting and zooming in and out. I'm just using my wheel mouse here. It does allow you to save the image as well. So if you wanted to see more information, you can most definitely let's grab this water network inside of here, select similar, add to Model Viewer, and there's my network. So I can see all this in 3D, very similar to what you had before. I have been playing with this. It's a little bit more fluid, a little bit more smooth, a little bit easier to navigate. I'm not sure what they did with the steering wheel and the way it changes. I like this a lot more because when I demonstrate this in class, as far as trying to go into my object viewer, I always have a hard time doing this. And I've been playing with this just a little bit, and I kind of enjoy the way that it puts my objects and how easy this window is to move. So definitely has been improved on. And like I said before here, it is a modeless window, so you can still be inside the Civil software. So once you're done, don't forget to close it out. So it's readily available there for you as well. So I think it's a really neat function of the software that we're able to then start orbiting around for our design. I'm not going to get into too much detail here. I'm going to kind of preview what I'm going to talk about here next is the fact that we are able to use Project Explorer, and if you guys are using that tool, great. It is an auxiliary window that installs with the latest releases of the software. So if you want to go here and take a look at Project Explorer information, so I'm going to kind of step ahead of myself over here in just a little bit. This has been modified and more information has been added here to be able to see, edit, and report on. It is an auxiliary window for us to be able to do work, not only be able to leverage information, but also be able to generate reports and edits. If you're not feel too comfortable with Civil 3D, this tabular editor might work really neatly here for you. Improvements have been done in the background to add more functionality to it. It is also a modeless window that works from within the Civil software. Let me jump back into my presentation here. As I mentioned here, Project Explorer has been enhanced. There has been sprinkling a lot of rail enhancements throughout the years, work with alignments, work with Project Explorer. In this particular case, CAM views have been enabled inside of here, and object set actions can be triggered from the command line for Project Explorer. Again, not sure how many of you guys are doing rail or how many of you guys are actually using Project Explorer, but it's a great window to have available in here. In early releases, you had to, it was an extra download. Now it installs with the software. Let's see here. Data shortcuts. They have been leveraged they have been enhanced, excuse me, for us to be able to use surfaces a little bit more efficiently. Now there's a little extra checkbox over here that as I am creating the data shortcut, I'll be prompted to create a boundary. That way we can select only the area that we need from a data reference. I can then reduce the file opening time and reduce quarter processing speeds as well, but surfaces in general have been improved. Not only can I do this for my work here, but if I move on forward here, just talking about surfaces, they were improved in 2025. The 2025.1, as I mentioned earlier, has been changed, but the building of these models, both surfaces and corridors, have been improved. So for example, the rebuilding of corridor performance improvement has been done for corridors who are using surfaces as targets. Surface analysis, if you are performing those, have been improved about 1 to 3 times faster than before. And mousing over, moving on top of the surface who has contours, which are a large number of vertices, that behavior has also been improved. So rebuilding, using large surfaces, just in general, performance with surfaces has been updated for the civil software, because Autodesk is learning more and more how people are using not just for a couple miles worth of road. They're really running long spans of design specifically for roadway, not only through the U.S. but across the world. And you can see a pretty big breadth of design done here, and more specifically, rail can be that they're looking at. And I know I've worked with clients who do like 90 kilometers worth of a road, and it was a really big struggle with Civil 3D on machines that didn't have the appropriate RAM. Now Civil's being made to work a little bit easier with those. Let's talk a little bit about this. Let me go back here into Civil 3D. So I do have a large surface that I was working with here, and if I look at this, I have a surface base. It's a surface from LiDAR, just something that I wanted to have be really full and heavy. This drawing itself is pretty large. So I go here to my drawing properties as a starting point. All right, it's 28 megs, not too crazy. But what I'm able to do is use data shortcuts to push this information out. And I just want to demo this here. Let's open up my next drawing here to pair this up. Surface. Data shortcuts here. So the classic method of just pushing the surface out and bringing it in, that really hasn't changed. Performance improvements have been done. So for dense and large surfaces, yes, it's going to run a little bit quicker. I'm just going to go ahead and create a reference here, and you guys know how this works. Just brings everything in here. So the way that large surface is being brought in and the Civil 3D in 2026 behaves, you're going to feel that drawings close and open much quicker. Dealing with dense corridors and dense surfaces, it's going to feel a little bit better in this year release. But what I wanted to show off here is, as I'm creating this surface, I'm not sure if you missed it here. I'm going to delete that and add this in again. There's a button here to create a surface with a boundary, create a part of a surface. And this is great for those clients who have really large, maybe LiDAR scans of a state or a county or of their city, and you just want to bring a little portion of that for maybe terrain analysis or watershed analysis. I can just tap into that really large file and bring only what I want. And as I go here and hit OK, what's going to happen here is going to give me the option of, let me see where's my dynamic input? Here we go. If I see this, it's going to ask me to select the polygon or percentage to create a new boundary. So if I already have my bounding area that I want to use, I can pick on that. And as soon as I do that, it just pulls that surface right on in, and it's a much smaller surface than I had before. So it's a much smaller area that I'm working with. So I can create a bounded surface from a data shortcut. So if you're working in perhaps multiple phases, or maybe you do have the entire city or county flown, or maybe a really, really dense LiDAR scan that you were brought in that was flown in, you can make that surface smaller immediately instead of having to go back and later try to add a boundary property to it. Although the surfaces have been improved to run a little bit quicker, this saves a little bit more time. Let's see here. Dynamo again has been updated. We have a little bit more performance inside of here. Just the way that the civil software works, we get a little bit of extra features, more specifically to deal with feature lines there. Again, the purpose of Dynamo is to be able to automate a little bit of design inside of the civil package. My Insights is part of your software here, which can give you personalized information based upon how you are using AutoCAD. It can give you information that is adaptive. It takes you to insights how other people are using AutoCAD. And you get a little, if you go to the actual the homepage here, you can set reminders for you to get, like, for example, monthly email to see what is really available out there and tailor this to you. So it's a function of the software that we have here to be able to, well, do a little bit more. I'll show you that page there, just that'll my insights at the bottom. Coordinate references have been added. Now, I talked about this this CS coordinate system that was updated, I think, last year or the year before last. In my presentation, I talked about this, where we have that new command for us to be able to look at geo-coordinate systems. It's called the Geo CS Assign. In this case, we have some new zones added here in the UK, Malaysia, a Saudi system, a Serbian and Switzerland system has been added in for us to use. Now, along with these updates, there's a coordinate transformation tool available for Civil 3D, and it is available for the 2025 package. The coordinate transformation tool is not yet available for 2026. Weird. They added it as a, hey, this is what we're going to be doing to it, but it's not yet available. What it does, it gives you enhanced alignment transformation and enhanced alignment reported. What it can do is help you do exactly that, is to provide an interface where we can take an Autodesk Civil 3D object and move it from one coordinate system to another within our drawing environment. So for us, typically would be meter to feet, feet to meters, or something like that. It's not yet available. When it is available, or if you're running an earlier release of Civil 3D, you're going to find it over here in the toolbox under the drawing transformation. And I'll go and jump into my demonstration here just a little bit, talking about what's readily available here for us. And that is over here for AutoCAD. I'm not going to be doing too much here. Is under the Start tab. I wanted to talk about that, my insights, and it should load. Well, I recently redid my installation on this machine, so I actually have a brand new computer and a brand new installation of the 2026, so I don't have many insights to talk about here, but I have the ability of logging in, having it give me some suggestions as far as how the community is using certain commands. I typically just stay on the recent tab. The coordinate systems that I mentioned here, I'm just going to open up a new drawing. What I wanted to mention here was that coordinate system command that was added a while back. It's the GeoCS Assign, GeoCS Assign, and we have a whole dedicated dialog box for us to set coordinate systems. That's what I wanted to show you here as a reminder that this does exist. The classic way of adding coordinate systems still work. Yeah, you can go over here to your settings tab, right click, and go to your drawing properties, but this just gives you a different interface to work at. And I'm just going to here go for Malaysia, and now there are my Malaysian coordinate systems that were added in. So I like how this box works, even if you're working with North Carolina or U.S. coordinate systems here, North Carolina. And I can see whatever coordinate systems are available inside of here. I do like that as it lights up, it takes me to a location in space and says, hey, this is the coordinate system that you're using. So I like that it gives me a little preview, because some places do have multiple coordinate systems, on northern, eastern, or southern. And if you kind of have an idea of what your site is at, it does give you a cute little preview of where you're at, and you can go ahead and assign it, which will be assigned inside of the Civil dialog boxes or in the Map 3D dialog boxes as well. Let's see. All right. That was about it. Reviewing what was new in Civil 3D 2026. I like the enhancements and the functionality that I have in this year release of the software. Mainly for you guys using corridors and large surfaces, it's going to be hot. And looking at utility design, there is a built-in drainage analysis piece. However, as I'm wrapping this one up here, I do want to talk about a basic AutoCAD 2026 extra that I want to talk about. And as I cue that up, I want to remind us that you can join us later this week on Friday with Ryan Wunderlich, who will be looking at the what's new in AutoCAD. So I didn't touch any of that, with one minor exception here. I'm going to steal a little bit of his lightning. And this I found to be very important. The geolocation is missing for Bing Maps in 2026. Now, 2025, they gave us the ASV stuff, And we had Esri and the Bing Maps, which have had for a long time. However, this service will be discontinued and you no longer will be able to see it. Now, if you happen to have the map available in earlier releases, you're going to open it up and the Bing Maps functionality will be there until June 2028. But from this point on forward, inside of 2026, if you turn off the Bing Maps, there's no way of getting back into it within 2026. So Bing Maps is getting retired, guys. That functionality is going to be discontinued. So I want to show this to you. And let me go back into Civil 3D. And let's open up a drawing here. Let's open up a drawing. Here we go. So this was a drawing with Bing Maps. The geolocation was enabled in 2024. And I get imagery. And for those who can recognize it, that's the RDU report. Not too bad for a Bing service. Now, in talking to some of my clients, they don't even like using the Bing service because it's free and it's not something that, because it is a free service, it's something that they feel uncomfortable using, so they go out and just buy their own imagery. However, I am running 2026. I want you to show over here under the geolocation tab. If I hit this drop down, I have Bing Aerial at the bottom. That's cool. Now, what happens if I get rid of my aerial imagery? I'm going to go ahead and turn it off, so I lose the airport, I lose that design. And if I go back in here and want to turn it back on, well, son of a gun, it made me a liar. It made me a liar. I was testing this earlier, and what's going to happen is you're going to see this Bing stuff disappear from you, and you're no longer going to see it. I had my hard stop a little bit earlier, but in 2026, you are going to be losing that functionality, and it's making me a liar. But I just wanted to show you that functionality will be disappearing here in the near future. So just be aware that you may see the map readily available and added with that, but if you are not using something that was created in an earlier release, you're not going to have these drop-down features here. So let me see if I can just open up another drawing over here, and let's set a coordinate system. Let me just set my North Carolina coordinate system here, NC83F. And what you'll notice here when I go to my geolocation tab is, well, it's making me a liar again. I had it where it was not showing this at all. Just know that it will disappear here in the near future because the support for it will no longer be here. So please be aware of that. And if you're interested in knowing a little bit more about these types of changes and more on what's new, what I would like you to do is remind you that we are going to have yet another presentation for Civil 3D. And you can join us on Friday. And Ryan's going to be working on through a little bit more of what's new with AutoCAD, so a little bit more of the basics that you can enjoy inside of Civil 3D. You can see inside of Map, or if you're just using plain vanilla AutoCAD, you're going to be able to join us there. Other than that, it looks like I ran a little bit quicker here than I expected to today. But what I wanted to do is thank you for joining us. If you have any questions following up this presentation, you can message Ashley, and she'll be able to help you out or direct your questions to the right location. And from here, what I'm going to do is then turn to the team and just make sure that I can get to address any questions you guys may have.